Good morning, students. So, as we had discussed all the phrases last time, if I correctly remember, we have uh, gone through noun phrase, verb phrase, prepositional phrase, adjective phrase, and adverb phrase. So, adverb phrases are those phrases where the head of that phrase is an adverb. So, whenever you say uh, words like uh, he runs fast, so basically he runs very fast. When you say this kind of a sentence, so it is meaning that uh, fast is an adverb by nature. He runs fast. When you say he runs very fast, so very is modifying the adverb fast. So here adverb is modifying the adverb. Whenever you get examples like adverb modifying adverbs, that time you come to know that this is an adverb phrase. So whenever you say he held her so tightly that she couldn't breathe, so tightly. Now tightly is an adverb, okay, and when you are adding the degree, adverb degree, so so that becomes an adverb phrase. So he held her so tightly. So tightly is an adverb phrase that it was difficult for her to breathe. We had also discussed in the adjective phrase that the head of that particular phrase will be an adjective. Now in that case I would like to tell you that in adjective phrases, please remember this, in adjective phrase, when you say he is a tall, handsome man. Now, if you are looking at this part, tall, handsome man, now you know that here the focus is on the word, the noun man. So here, if you select all the three words together, then this is a noun phrase. But when you leave out the noun phrase, it becomes an adjective phrase. A tall, handsome man. Other examples will be um, I saw a long, thin lane before me. Now, here, this part, long, thin, this part is an adjective phrase. But when you say a long, thin lane, here you have the noun phrase. So adjectives को जब focus करके आप target करते हो, that is an adjective phrase, and when you add the noun with it, it becomes a noun phrase. So this is a noun phrase and this is an adjective phrase. So this is what you must remember. Verb phrase I had told you, uh, he is playing the field. Now, here is playing is the verb phrase, and in the field, this is the prepositional phrase. Why? Because of the preposition in lying at the beginning of the cluster, and which has a particular noun as the object. So this is the reason why it is a prepositional phrase. You have two kinds of phrases over here. One is a verb phrase is playing, and the other is a preposition phrase in the field. So you must be able to, you know, uh, analyze all of these sentences that are of different constructions. And if you look into the if you look into the structure of nouns, sorry, if you look into the structure of clauses, then you have to think about what constitutes a clause first of all. I mean, if you talk about clauses, then I think, let me increase the board size. Yeah, yeah. So clause, clause is that part of the sentence which basically comprises the subject oh, and I should write this. So the, the presence of the finite verb is very essential when you are trying to target clauses. Now, in a clause, there are several, uh, you know, elements that are there. So you have the subject, you have the predicator, okay, you have the object, you have the complement. Complement also, you have subject complement, you have object complement. We'll discuss one by one quickly. So, um, the boy killed a lion, or killed a lion. Um, killed a lion. You can say, okay, at in the jungle, in the jungle. Now here, look at this. This is a clause. Why? Because obviously it is having a minimum requirement. When you underline this part, this makes it a clause. And this entire sentence, which is almost seeming to be complete. Here, what you are seeing is that there are several elements. So one by one, let us point out which are those elements we have found. So when you are talking about the boy, okay, uh, you're talking about the boy, okay, then this is the second part, this is the third part, and this is the fourth part. Okay. Okay. Now here, when we come to this part, here you have the subject. Then moving on, this is the predicator. This is not the predicate. Predicate is from the verb till the end, whatever there is. I mean, apart from the subject, whatever you see in the sentence is a predicate. but the verb phrase is your predicator. So this is the predicator. Let me write it for the first time. Predicator. So remember this. I will just pull it. Yeah. So killed is the predicator. Then you have the object. You have the object over here, and here you have the adverbial. Adverbial answers the question where, when, um, how much, then you can say of, uh, why, um, what if. All those questions are answered by your adverbials. Then you can also write a sentence like, uh, I hope you can see your, I mean, the board is visible to you. Students, is it visible or not?
Yes, sir.
Many students uh, are keeping uh, their copies clean nowadays. बाद में look at this sentence. Can you spot, I mean, so that we can be quick, can you spot me the subject, the predicator, the object, and if you can see a complement and an adverbial? Can you do that? What about Nikuj?
The many student subject.
Okay, good.
Keeping their copies clean nowadays are predicate.
हाँ, प्रेडिकेट नहीं बेटा, प्रेडिकेटर चाहिए मुझे. प्रेडिकेट और प्रेडिकेटर में फर्क ये है, प्रेडिकेट होता है वर्ब से लेके एकदम अंत तक. सो यहाँ पे इस सेंटेंस में मतलब आर कीपिंग से लेके नाउअडेज तक पूरा प्रेडिकेट होगा. पर प्रेडिकेटर जो है that only marks the verb phrase, only the verb phrase. Like killed was the predicator in the previous sentence. What will be the predicator in this sentence?
Are keeping.
Are keeping,
Copying,
not
yes.
are keeping. Yes, correct. Are keeping is your predicator. Let me, so that it is easier for those who missed it out. Are keeping is your predicator. Then what next? Which is your object? Is there any object in this sentence?
Copies.
Their copies. Their copies होगा ना, copies को their modify कर रहा है यहाँ पे, ठीक है? There is a determiner, not an adjective. Remember that. Their copies. Then here their copies हो गया object. अब है words हमारे पास क्या? Clean nowadays. By their nature we know clean is an adjective. Nowadays is an adverb. So what function do they play in this sentence when we are talking about the elements of the clause? What are their functions? What is clean? What is nowadays? Okay, I'll spell it out for you. Here, this is clean is the complement. Whenever you have uh, something in a sentence which basically helps the subject, predicator, and object to find a completeness in meaning without talking about, without answering the questions when, where, not those ones. Those are adverbials. जब when, where, why इन लोग का आंसर आएगा तो वो adverbial हो जाएगा. इसके अलावा जो रहता है वो होता है complement. Either वो subject complement होगा or else it will be an object complement. First of all, let us mark it as this is a complement. Clean is a complement. Nowadays, just like in the jungle answer कर रहा था where, nowadays answer कर रहा है when. So this is an adverbial. So this is how you have to adverbial. This is where you can find your construction of different elements of a clause. If we move a little bit more into the construction of clause, then you can say he gave her a ring. Oh, why didn't, why couldn't I write? He gave her a ring. He gave the library 2 books. Now, what we get over here, what we discuss over here are the two different kinds of objects that exist. तो यहाँ पे obviously he in both cases are subjects. Gave in both cases are predicators. We'll talk about predicator. Now, when we talk about uh, इसको थोड़ा सा, when we talk about direct object, एक है direct object और एक है indirect object. Now, to find out which is a direct object, which is an indirect object, we need to answer the question or ask the question first. Uh, what? What? When you say what, then you get the direct object, and when you ask uh, whom or to whom, that answers the question. That brings out your indirect object. In this case, he gave what? What did he give? If you ask the question, so he gave a ring. This is your direct object. And here in this sentence, he gave, what did he give? He gave 2 books. Again, direct object. When you are talking about the question, uh, whom or to whom, so whom did he give a ring? Her. So here, her is the indirect object. Whom did he give 2 books? The library. So this is the indirect object. Am I clear? Or am I just talking and nobody is bothered to listen? Could you tell me? Am I mean, this much clear that you can understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Um, suppose, now this is another here. Um example I would like to give you, because remember this. Please remember this, what I am telling you. Now I am just changing the structure a bit. Um, look at this sentence. The previous one was he gave her a ring. and we had said that the indirect object is her because it is answering the question whom. When you come to such a structure, okay, where he gave what? He gave a ring, definitely direct object. Now here you cannot ask the question to whom. You cannot ask the question because यहाँ पे इस प्रोनाउन के पहले एक preposition आ गया है and this makes it a prepositional phrase. It's not an object. A ring is a direct object or object. It is the only object present in that sentence. To her is not an indirect object. हर indirect object था पर यहाँ पे आप जैसे you are seeing a change in this particular sentence structure. यहाँ पे to her हो गया एक prepositional phrase. So please keep this in your mind. Then when we talk about subject complement, object complement, I would like to erase it. Okay. Subject. Example, he is a good boy. He is a good boy. नहीं इतना भी डायरेक्ट ये नहीं दे देंगे आपको. हाँ, no problem about it actually because he is a good boy. Here the whenever you have linking verbs as the only verb in a sentence, let me tell you, linking verb in a sentence can never give you an object. The sentence I am Avishek Dev, here am is the linking verb of the be form. Okay, now here in this sentence, object cannot be Avishek Dev. I mean the subject, if the subject is I, then object cannot be Avishek Dev because of the pure fact that it is just supplementing or complementing the subject over here. So that is why here Avishek Dev is a particular a glaring example of a complementary subject. Subject complement. Then in this example, he is a good boy. So is again is an example of a linking verb, and anything that follows the linking verb, which you deem as a subject as a object, is not an object actually. It is a com, uh, subject complement. So you have to find all those things. So subject complement characterizes the subject in plain words. If you say, sir, can you give more examples? Of course, uh, they are descendants of titans. Here, descendants, spelling was should be descendants of titans. This particular phrase, if they ask you what phrase is it, fine, you have to tell them, well, descendants of titans. If you are going to dissect it, then of titans is a prepositional phrase, of course, and descendants is a noun. So you cannot actually join descendants of titans. If you join it, then it becomes a noun phrase. Descendants of Titans, noun phrase. Of Titans will be a prepositional phrase. Coming to descendants of Titans. Descendants of Titans characterizes the subject they. तो इसीलिए ये सब सब्जेक्ट कॉम्प्लीमेंट है. अब हम आगे अगर बात करें ऑब्जेक्ट कॉम्प्लीमेंट, ऑब्जेक्ट कॉम्प्लीमेंट तब कौन हुआ? Here object complement means anything that follows the object is an object complement. They painted their house white. So in this particular sentence, what we find is, sorry, यहाँ पे subject है they. Now the verb in this sentence is not a linking verb. It is an action verb. So they painted. So subject, predicator, painted. Subject is they, predicator is painted. Their house is your object, because you will easily find it if you any particular sentence that can be changed to the passive voice can be easily deduce the fact that whether the previous sentence carries an object or not. So obviously their house was painted white. That's how you you know change the structure. So here their house is the object. Anything that follows uh, you know the object after that, I mean, yeah, anything that follows I should not say, because if the sentence is there, they painted their house up up the hill. अगर ये sentence है तो up the hill is not an object complement, it is a prepositional phrase. Remember that. So they painted their house white. इसके लिए जरूरी क्या है सर कि ऑब्जेक्ट कॉम्प्लीमेंट होने के लिए जरूरी ये है कि वो ऑब्जेक्ट का बात करे. ऑब्जेक्ट कॉम्प्लीमेंट characterizes the object. You have to remember this. So they painted their house white. So white color of the house, which is an object of the sentence. This you have to remember. There can be other examples as well. You can type every person every person keeps or takes take their work uh, take their work uh, yeah. Every consider consider every person considers Kohli a good batsman. So here, Kohli is the object. Considers is always the verb. And a good batsman. Now, this a good batsman characterizes Kohli. It doesn't characterize every person. So here, a good batsman is an object complement. These are the examples we have. Now, enough. Just a minute. I have a class now. Could I talk to you later? So, yeah. So these are the basic, you know, uh, structures you have in, I mean, elements you have in a clause. Now coming to what kind of clauses exist, what types of clauses exist in a sentence. So noun clause, first of all. Noun clause. If you dive into uh, noun clause is that part of a sentence which uh, plays the role of a noun. Just a second. Class ले रहा हूँ. Class ले रहा हूँ. Can't, I mean, it's right before your eyes and you keep on calling. हाँ तो नाउन क्लॉज है सब्जेक्ट वर्ब का वो रिलेशन that plays the role of a noun. So it's a combination of a subject verb where though that subject verb combination plays the role of a noun. Example. What you think of yourself determines your character. It is a long sentence ऐसे देखो तो पर जैसे मैंने कहा था it is going to be a relation of a subject verb in such a manner, I mean subject verb clause, it has to be a clause, okay, which will play the role of a noun. So here such uh, noun clauses, either you will find them in place of a subject or an object. Either you will see them in place of a subject or an object. Here, this is the subject of the sentence, no doubt about that. Then this is the predicator, determines, and then what follows is the object. Now here, what you think of yourself plays the role, therefore, of a noun. जब भी सब्जेक्ट और ऑब्जेक्ट ये होता है, जनरली हम लोग देखते हैं कि सब्जेक्ट का रोल या ऑब्जेक्ट का रोल एक नाउन ही प्ले करता है. कभी कभार यू सी अ प्रोनाउन जंपिंग, but even if a pronoun jumps, it basically plays the role of a noun. That's the reason. So you have to find here what you think of yourself. This is your noun clause. So if you are to find the noun clause, it's here. What is, so this is your noun clause. Then what you have, another example if we discuss. Can we have another such example from you? Either Ompal can answer, someone. I need somebody to participate because you are totally silent. That does not help. Yes, Ompal, are you there? Or Rajkumar?
Yes.
Yes, can you give us an example where now I showed you that how noun clause plays the role of a subject. Can you find any sentence where a noun clause will appear as an object? I'm giving you a clue. You complete the sentence. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Here, subject is I, don't know is predicator. Now you have to complete the sentence. I don't know what is what is going to follow. Complete the sentence, Rajkumar. I don't know क्या मतलब आप उसके बाद क्या लिख रहोगे? एक क्लॉज अगर लाना हो, गिव मी अ क्लॉज. One example I'm giving you. If you are why Raj Kumar is silent, or stays silent. Here, Rajkumar, if you notice, this was a subject, this was a predicator after the or the verb phrase, whatever you call it. Then what follows is a noun clause which is playing the role of an object. So why Rajkumar stays silent here? Obviously, you have the Rajkumar as the subject and stays silent as obviously the action that is done by Rajkumar. यहाँ पे, yes, Rajkumar, do you want to say something? Sorry, I couldn't hear you. So एक और एग्जाम्पल है, they say work is worship. These are two sentences almost of similar structures, but both are noun clauses. Work is worship is a noun clause, and that work is worship is also a noun clause. The only difference that you have over here is ये वाले clause को आप zero that कहते हो, जहाँ पे जहाँ पे that नहीं है वहां पे zero that कहते हो. So work is worship, इसमें this is a noun clause. I should underline it for you. This is a zero that, and this is a that clause of a noun clause. So both are examples of noun clause. If you have other examples, like if you want to go to um, some more examples. What what you uh, aspire. Oh, what you target. What you target reflects your. So here, what you target. This is again a noun clause. Reflects verb है. Your ambition is playing the role of the object over here. Your उसमें determiner है. Ambition is the noun. तो यहाँ पे what you target, देखो subject verb का एक relation है. What के बाद subject verb relation follow कर रहा है. What you target reflects your ambition. ऐसे एग्जाम्पल्स ही नाउन का रोल प्ले कर रहे हैं एंड देयरफॉर दे आर प्लेइंग द रोल ऑफ अ नाउन क्लॉज. The only difference between a noun phrase and a noun clause is here you will find a combination of a subject verb in a noun clause, while in a noun phrase you will find that the head of that particular phrase is a noun. Now अगर आप पूछोगे सर क्या ये noun phrase है, जी नहीं, because here there is a finite verb which is figuring in a phrase and a clause. That only difference is that presence of finite verb. I mean, in a clause, and in a phrase, you won't find the presence of a finite verb conjoined with a subject or or something uh, that place replaces a subject. तो ये डिफरेंस है. अगर आप एडवर्ब क्लॉज का बात करते हैं, देर आर so many clauses. There is noun clause, there is adverb clause, there will be you will find prepositional clause, you will find uh, clause of coordination, clause of subordination, you will find comparative clause. So all these relative clause, and in relative clause you will have a restrictive relative clause, non-restrictive. There are lots of them, but I think I am running out of time, so I'll quickly be quick. Adverb phrase बहुत आसान है. So if you ask me, sir, what is an sorry, adverb clause? Adverb clause. Whenever you find an adverb clause, you will see them answering the question when, where, why, what if. इनको आंसर करते हैं. एग्जाम्पल, since I am. Okay, I'll run off because today it will be difficult. Anyway, thank you. We'll uh, have a class and we'll finish it over there. Thank you. We'll
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.